Hello, everyone. I thought I would make a simpler video today, kind of outlining my thoughts and experiences associated with the principles that I've learned from the creation of the last number of videos, and it's kind of a status check on how this YouTube process has affected me and how the application of these principles. I think you can get some value um, by kind of seeing my experience so far and how it's affected how I think and how I've processed my life in the last number of months. Um, so, to order my thoughts somewhat, I'm going to be taking the main principles that I've kind of held on to from each of the videos, kind of in the same order as I've released the videos. And in the process of that, I'm going to try and do my best to give you enough context so you don't have to watch the whole video to understand what I'm saying in this one. And I hope it's clear. But if you can, bear with me, and hopefully you get some value from kind of seeing what my experience has been in the process of this journey. In my first video, I have held on to one principle very much recently, and what I called that the 50-50 rule, and it was kind of a thought process that I was introduced to by Connor Woodman in his YouTube channel, where he was mentioning how the average person is always just consuming. And he brought forth the idea that 50% of the time you should consume, but the other 50% of the time it's best for you to produce, and it's most healthy for you to produce, to create, to do something that's not associated with just gathering information, right? And as I've been implementing this and trying to let this kind of new way of thinking and acting kind of permeate my system, I've realized that it seems like my mind is clearer in general. Whether it's specifically, I've noticed that, in forcing my mind to consume information and then kind of condense it, understand it, and then be able to present it in a way to one of these videos, it's kind of changed how my communication ability functions on a fundamental level. It is not in a very drastic sense, but I've noticed that how I'm interacting with other people, whether it's my family or just strangers or people on the phone, my ability to bring my thoughts to them in a more concise and clear manner has gone up. And it's made me realize how much this consumption-based economy or society, if you will, has been stifling me in many ways. And it's not in the way that you might always think that I was watching YouTube or TikToks all day for the last 10, 20 years. That's not really the issue. Yes, there was some of that, and I was pretty disciplined even as I would say a millennial with this technology. But I also realized that whether it was through school or through good books or good podcasts or whatever I was constantly just consuming, and how that subtly just kind of changed even just like my physiology, right? There was something that always felt like I was missing something consistently through life. And so I've noticed that it just kind of, this sense of freedom that has come from allowing myself to just create something and figure it out. It's uniquely mine, and I'm making mistakes and making good decisions and doing everything and anything that you could talk about, and learning a lot. And I don't know, it's freeing. It feels like I'm getting a breath of fresh air in some ways. Instead of having to paint in the within the dotted line, there's a level of just exploring that I'm enjoying in this process. And I've noticed that it's made me a little bit more engaged just in general as a human. And I think that's a positive thing. In my second video, I mentioned this was specifically covering the effect that Edward Bernays had on our collective psyche, if you will. And I mentioned how the principles that he utilized way back when are being used on us constantly through social media and through mass advertising and public relation firms. And I wanted to kind of give an update on this, trying to win the game with technology, if you will, in this kind of psyop we call corporate advertising. As I've been observing it more, right, I realized how easy it is for me to consume and be influenced. How my mind craves that dopamine hit, if you will, to be spoon-fed, just to chill out, relax, be there, and consume, right? And I'm realizing more and more how important it is to say no. Just to say no, to find where my limit is, where my boundary is, and sticking with it, and how that helps me and my family navigate the world in a way that we can be sustainable and healthy and more productive. And to think the thoughts that our thoughts are manipulated by what we choose to let them be manipulated by instead of just some random advertisement. That was one thing that was in that video. I mentioned that it's not a matter of if you will be manipulated. It's just by whom. Because we're social creatures. We're designed to interact and to live life with other people and having kind of that life on life interaction. And if you're interacting with people, you're being influenced. And that's not all bad. But the biggest thing that we have to be careful about is actively letting those who we know we can trust in to manipulate our thought process. Do we want it somebody like Edward Bernays who wants you to buy a hearty breakfast because some company wants to sell more bacon? Or do you want to eat bacon because you actually enjoy it? Right? There's a big difference there. Anyway, so in my exploration with this process, I did experiment with the Brick product. And again, this is not an advertisement with them. I do not have any affiliation with them. But I did try to use their product. Unfortunately, my phone, for whatever reason, would just not use it. And for those of you that are not familiar with it, it's just basically you use the same technology as Apple Pay or Google Pay. And basically you will set up the app and set it up so that once you lock your phone, there's certain apps that you can't access unless you physically scan the brick, right? And the idea is awesome, and I still like it. I'm having a hard time utilizing it with my specific phone. I don't know what's wrong with it. I tried interacting with them, and I'll probably just get a different phone. But long story short, that getting me into that world for a bit there, I decided to just the principle is just to have more friction, right? Friction to get to, if I want to just naturally just slide into trying to use social media without a brain cell, there needs to be a few things that make it a little harder. And so what I did personally so far is just got rid of pretty much all social media except for Facebook, which I don't really like using anyway because I need to use the marketplace. And everything else, if I want to have to use YouTube on my phone, it has to go through just the classic browser. And the browser's annoying and not really easy to use, and it's just an extra few steps for me to sit there and go to that instead of just pushing the app and away I go. I got rid of Instagram on it, and I just basically loaded it onto my iPad so that I can, if I need to utilize it, I'll utilize it. And it kind of just made a little bit more of a separation, if you will. The other thing that me and my wife have implemented is that we're kind of just consolidating all of our technology into one spot that's a common area in our home. It's not, our phones are not hanging out by our bed unless it's a special occurrence, like say we're waiting for a phone call from a family member or there's a potential for, an emergency situation or something like that. Other than that, it's kind of out in the main living area where we can still hear ringtones and stuff like that, but it's transitioning. I'm got my old analog clock out, and I'm utilizing that to kind of keep an eye on the time and possibly use that for the alarms if I need it. And I've noticed that kind of is a sense of freedom. There's another sense of freedom. It's just not the constant like desire or the subconscious just tick to just pick up the phone and look at it, right? And I've noticed that in the process of all of that, I have to use intentionality to give myself outlets to do that. Like, and it's switched over to being, I'm just autopilot checking and scrolling. It's more of a process of, I want, again, going back to that old way of looking at the world where when the dial-up days, right, before the age of the smartphone, it was having more of that hunter-gatherer idea of, hey, I want to get something. I need to get some information to bring value to myself or my family, right? And I would kind of process that a little bit, go decide where I could get that best information, whether it was dial-up or an actual book, right? Or, as Wi-Fi came along, I could actually use my computer for more a little quicker Google searches, but still, it was a physical process of like getting up, if I was in my bedroom, to go to the kitchen and get the family computer going, right? And so the process of this has kind of helped me kind of revert back to it. And I realized that my brain's a little bit more healthy in the respect that I'm more intentional of when it gets me, right? And it'll still get me. Don't get me wrong. There's some times where I just kind of, my brain just veggies out and I'm trying to do something and I'm trying to do one project, listen to a podcast or YouTube video and take care of a kiddo, right? If I'm at home. And not good, right? At all times. I need to be intentional with spending time with them and not to be zoned out at all times. But it's made it so that I'm at least more aware of it, if that makes any sense. So, I mean, I would encourage you all to figure out what that means for you, right? Again, it's not a question of whether or not you will be influenced or manipulated. You just have to, the only thing you can choose is who will be manipulating you. And in the process of this, I just encourage you to, bring some friction between you and whatever forces are trying to get your attention. The one last thing that I did mention is for YouTube, which I use the most, I ended up just buying a subscription. I don't like giving money to Google per se or Alphabet, but at the end of the day, when I am going into YouTube, I just open a video, get the information I want, and I'm not distracted by 5 million different ads telling me about bath soap that I don't care about. And I've noticed that's kind of changed my mental state as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I hope that you get some value out of kind of these principles and kind of what I've been experiencing. Again, it's uncomfortable, but in a good way. And I would encourage you all to kind of live a little bit more of the 50-50 model, to realize that you are going to be manipulated. So be more cognizant of who's manipulating you. I think there's some value in being brutally honest with yourself. So with that, I think I'll just leave you with this reminder. Take care of yourselves. Take care of those around you. Choose wisely what influences you. And if you can, make the world a better place today because you are in it. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.